What are some guys' secrets girls don't know about? When people come crying to us, our first inclination is to fix the problem. If we tie down anything in the back of a pickup truck or trailer, it's physically impossible for us not to stand back and say, "That's not going anywhere. We really do think your hair is good. It looked good before and after you got a haircut. It looked good, curly, and it looked good straight. It looked good when you woke up and when you made it." As long as it's shaped like the hair we gave girls on stick figures when we were 5 years old, we think it looks good. I'm a girl and I found out through the years that when guys say something, don't think too much into it. Like, what's the hidden meaning? Don't overthink it. Guys normally say stuff that should be taken at face value. They're not. When you see a guy you don't know or kind of know, but don't really know well enough to talk to walks by, you give a subtle nod of your head which they return. We desperately want you to taught us things instead of just handing them to us. I like hugs. I'm not staring at you. I'm zoned out thinking about how I'd start a brewery in medieval England whilst my eyes just happen to be facing your direction. What did you do intoxicated that sober you really appreciated? We booked out a hotel room and got trashed before going out. Think 6 guys chugging on a ton of beer and eating snacks for about 5 hours. There was a lot of stuff strewn around the room, topped off by a few smashed bottles in the bathroom because my friend thought the bath was full of cold water, but it was actually empty. I ended up coming back before everybody else and fell asleep when I woke up in the morning. The room was spotless. My friend who was sharing the room with me told me he came home to find all the empty cans crushed and bagged up with all the snack rubbish in the bin. I'd even gone into the bathroom and picked up every shards of glass and made sure I'd washed the small shards out of the bathtub with the shower. I'd even cleaned the surfaces. The maid service would have had literally nothing to do other than make the beds. Meant that when we woke up the next morning feeling worse for wear, we had absolutely nothing to tidy. When we went to our friend's room, which we hadn't spent any time in, they'd absolutely trashed it in between getting home and falling asleep. I don't think my friend had ever loved me more than he did that morning. Fathers who abandoned your family. Why did you do it? I came back from a tour to find out my wife was pregnant. I was 99% sure it wasn't mine because things were rocky 4 months before I deployed dad bedroom. I straight up asked her about it. She started off being defensive and accusatory, but eventually she told me that, okay, she had been seeing a friend of mine while I was gone with the intent of getting pregnant. I asked for a test and she laughed at me, which was enough proof for me. I filed for divorce and she delayed. She also let her friends and family in on it, but said I was leaving her because I didn't want to raise my child. It got to my family as well. And despite explaining the situation, they said they would disown me if I left her. They even tried using the PTSD talk that was in the news about military in general against me, as if my background meant I was tortured and should just accept being trapped by someone I used to love. I was stressed, but I am not an idiot. Not long after I just grabbed what I could as fast as I could and left. If I ever go back, I'll face criminal charges because I am being held legally responsible for a life that cannot possibly belong to me. There is still no test, and at this point I would not be surprised if one had been produced and tampered to empower the line. I am thinking it will catch up to me one day, but until then I am living relatively okay elsewhere. It is not right what she did and I refuse to kneel. I would sooner die or have my legs broken to force surrender than willingly support a woman who attempted to get me to raise a kid that was a result of her own BS. She may get me eventually, but by the end it will be too late. She is not getting the payout she planned on. Instead, she is raising a kid alone, though I left her with a nice sob story, obviously. And if when the sword finally comes down, it'll just be so she can feel like she finally got me. She pointlessly ruined both our lives with this crap. I would have given her a kid on return. I just didn't want to impregnate her and then die and leave my unborn child fatherless. And I am never going to forgive her for that.